All right, guys, let's get day 6 started in AT10. I'm Kill2, joined by Ravy, and we're about to start things off with Choke Point versus Black Legion. What do you think here, Ravy?
Well, we see Black Legion has brought 3 Vindicators, which normally I'd say is a really cool strategy, but the problem is they also only brought, what is this, 7 ships? Yes, 7 ships, which in a 12-ship format...
It is 8.
Oh, it's 8. 8 ships. Yes, I should learn to count, but still not nearly enough. This is... Honestly, they could have dropped some of these ships down to some frigates, done much better. They're up against a drone team, which is pretty much the worst-case scenario, I think, for them. They don't have a ton of tackle. This drone team's going to be trying to kite. Seeing the setups, my money's on Choke Point, but honestly, I'd pick Black Legion ahead of this.
Yeah, and we are about to start. Match is underway right now. Sentry drone's out. You can see Choke Point warped in at max range from their beacon, and Black Legion is kind of spread across, but the Vindies are at 0, so they'll have at least 50k to burn. To get to the first set of sentry drones, and then also the Ishtars can, of course, move further away.
Those Ishtars are going to be burning away. They're going to get out of range and split up if they are smart, and those sentries will be doing damage the whole time.
They're
They're
moving very fast.
away, but they just don't have their MWDs on. I'm sure they'll hopefully do that once they get closer. But both these teams are armor tanked, so when we see damage applied, the shield isn't going to matter too much. We assume that the Jaguars for Black Legion are going to be armor tanked as well. It gives them a lot of free mids. They're probably going to be filled with tracking disruptors. But, well, it looks like we have a target painter applied. That E-War won't have a huge effect.
The other big problem you can see with bringing just the 3 Vindicators is the E-War effects that are stacked up on them don't have to be spread anywhere else. If they keep those tracking disruptors and damps focused on the Vindies, they will have a difficult time applying damage, even if they do catch up to
That
anything.
being said, the Choke Point Neros has been webbed by one of the Vindicators, I believe.
Ooh.
He's being shot at. I don't know how in the world you're getting caught by that, but...
Looks like he's free of the web now, so maybe he will be able to make range.
It might have just been a Jaguar that caught him there.
But he's still moving really slow, only 300 meters a second. He's still webbed, I guess.
Yeah, he's got Vindies hitting him now, so that is going to be a massive mistake on their part.
Yeah, that's
going to really cripple them, because at that point, once they lose that, these Vindies are going to have a much easier time burning through the Ishtars, which is what they really need to do. I'm also surprised that we're not seeing damage applied to the Aneros of Black Legion. Those bouncers do have a lot of range, even though they can't track great. If that Aneros is pulled back a bit, which he is, then they should still be able to hit him.
And you can see all the Vindies are webbed. Those assault frigs for Choke Point doing the best to keep them slowed down so that the Ishtars and hopefully the Aneros can pull range and take less damage. The Ishtars have fanned out quite a bit. They're fairly safe for now, although it looks like there's still some close enough that once the Aneros goes down, they're going to get tackled.
They're fanning out, but they're only fanning out by like 30, 40 kilometers. They have the whole arena. All they have to do is stay within their drone control range. So I don't know why they're so close, unless they just... Yeah, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, that piloting. And there we see the Aneros for Choke Point drop in.
Yep, that hurts bad. We'll see if they're able to get a tackle quickly on one of the hacks or if they try to take out some of the frigs. It's also surprising. Doesn't it seem weird that none of the Jags have died yet? I mean, they're getting support from the Aneros, but with 5 assault frigs to work on those Jags, I would think they would have had more trouble keeping them alive.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised. The one is going to be, he's going down now. It looks like they're not using any of the sentry damage against them, though. They're using all of these sentries on the Vindicators, which, considering that the Jag is going to be at least, he's scrammed and webbed at the moment, those sentries can probably hit him fine. So switching to him to knock out the tackle might be a good idea.
And now there's an Ishtar webbed, so I don't know if there's Vindicators on him already.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Why are they making it so easy for the Vindicators to get caught up? I mean, they had such a long head start, too. There was no attempt to web the Ishtars early, and they could have been 60 or 70k away.
We see one Ishtar going 1,200 meters a second, and now another one going up. But most of these Ishtars don't even appear to be micro-warp driving at all. They're just chilling out, sitting relatively close to the Vindicators, which is really not where you want to be.
And actually... No, that's just a Vengeance. I was going to say it looked like the Ishtars were headed down towards the Black Legion Oneros, but that doesn't really look like it's the case. I think just a frig or 2.
And we're seeing a lot of these assault frigates taking damage already. They've lost one of the Enyos for Choke Point. The Jaguar for Black Legion is staying up fine. I mean, the tank is holding up very well. And we're going to be seeing another Enyo dropping for Choke Point any time now as it dips into very low armor.
Wow, interesting choice here by the Black Legion Vindicators, actually running tracking computers.
Yep.
So that's a nice they've got. I was thinking the tracking disruptors there should have maybe caused more trouble, especially since not all the Vindies were able to get caught up to the Oneros. But with tracking computers, they're probably nullifying that pretty well.
Especially combined with that 90% web. Any extra tracking you can get is going to help. These ships also have a tracking bonus. So you got a lot of those free mids. The Vindicator has a lot of mids for when armor tank. And now you see them actually making the same mistake. Well, they've learned from it. They were making the same mistake the Test Alliance made with their Vindicators yesterday of approaching a cruiser and sitting on top of it at 0. But as we were saying, they did start to move away and get a little bit of range so that they could track better.
Yeah, it's much better if you're in a battleship, even with blasters, to try to keep it range at like 1K, 2K, 3K, even 4 or 5. They'll be
better
fine.
than 0.
Way better than 0, where the like transversal gets up really high really easily.
So one of the Vindicators for Black Legion is in fairly low armor, but at the rate that they're losing DPS, I have a feeling that he's going to survive. We've got another Enyo now webbed by the Vindicators, and he's going to be going down soon. And when that happens, these Enyos are actually a pretty significant chunk of the DPS for choke point. So that Vindicator is just really trying to hold on. We are seeing damage applied to the Black Legion and Neros too, but it may be too little too late.
Yeah, this is another one of these cool situations we're talking about where there's really a big support battle going on right around that Black Legion and Neros right now. The Enyos were trying to work on him, but the Jags are all there too, and they're protecting. And that's what's taking down the Enyos. And that's why you see pressure on the Oneros, but he looks like he's going to be just fine now that almost all the Assault Frigs are down. And it looks like the Vindies are able to get a hold of that Damnation for choke point, so that's going to be the next
Normally
target.
the Damnation is not a great primary, but if the Damnation was the closest target, then it's better to shoot it rather than chasing all the way across the field to get these get these Ishtars.
Not to mention that Damnation, I think, is running at least some of the tracking disruption or sensor dampening, so they free up more of their DPS.
Yeah, we are seeing an E-War effect going on.
Won't matter tons, but that could be relevant. So.
It'll also knock down the armor links, and it looks like it does have smart bombs, so it can knock out some of their own drones. Not that the drones are going to be a massive chunk of the DPS from that team. But that Damnation is going to be dropping now. It looks like we're going to have a pretty clear victory for Black Legion. They were the ones that I picked ahead of the match, but honestly I'm surprised to see them doing so well with the 8-ship team. 8-ship teams can win if you have the better pilots, but I think this team would have done a lot better if it had, say, dropped the Jaguars down to frigates, or not used a Damnation, for instance, and used that for some extra, say, battle cruisers.
How do you value, I mean, if you look at the Black Legion team and you look at what you could get an alternative to one of the Vindicators, I mean, they've got, what, 4 slots? They could ditch 20 points in a Vindicator and spread that DPS, I mean, across 2 battle cruisers, across 4 frigates.
4 electronic attack frigates.
Yeah, there's a lot of options there. And 3 Vindies is obviously very cool, and it worked here, but it is surprising to see them take that option instead of...
especially against... Now, you could tell from local, before the match, Black Legion said in local, can we get a mulligan, please? I think they realized that for a team like theirs that relies a little bit on... getting up close to their targets with Vindicators and doesn't have a lot of tackling ships, that a kiting team like the Ishtars appeared to be was going to be a problem for them. But the Ishtars just didn't seem to do a great job of kiting. They're all moving fast now, so it looks like they've gotten with the picture, and it's going to take a little while to get them all caught. But since those Jaguars are all alive, they'll be able to grab them, then the Vindies get on top of them, and...
Right, that's the thing with so few ships. They should have been able to hold range superiority over the whole match by just avoiding the Vindies early, waiting until they won the support war with their assault frigates. Forcing on the Jags, and then all that's left is Vindies, and they're slow. And you just outrun them for the whole match. You're a little limited because they could potentially move themselves to a side of the arena where their DPS is bad because they're out of drone control range. But still, they should have, been able to last a lot longer.
But in worst case scenario, as long as you don't have the opposing Damnation near them, you can drop heavy drones, because it's unlikely these Vindicators are going to have smart bombs. So then you just drop Berserkers or Ogres and do your DPS through that. So yes, it is surprising to see how much trouble they had getting away at the beginning. But that's just the way it went. It looks like they may be able to take down the Oneros with their sentry drones before they go down, but it's not going to win the fight for them, not even close.
And at the same time, you can see that Ishtar is tackled. The entire Black Legion team is moving across the field as fast as those Vindies can, which, as you can see, is like 1,200. And they're getting caught up now. And after that, actually, the other 2 Ishtars are kind of in line right behind him, so it won't be as long between tackles for those. Yeah.
For these teams that rely on kiting, and the teams that don't really need to be, at this point, they don't have any logistics. They don't have any reason to be close together. They really should be at 3 opposite sides of the arena. They should be as far away as possible from each other. Gives them the longest amount of time that the Vindies have to burn. Not only does that use up time, but it uses up cap for the Vindies and some of their cap charges, which over the course of a match like this can get really tight on a ship that uses cap for its guns and for its micro-warp drive.
Hey, Ravi, I got a question for you. I don't actually spend much time in a logistics ship or think about logistics ships very much, but I noticed this Oneros for Black Legion is armor tanking. We've seen a lot that are shield taking also. What do you think about the kind of trade-offs between doing armor Oneros and shield Oneros?
I think the shield Oneros used to be really, really good before Oneros got buffed and got the new low slots. The shield ones, I think, are probably the better setup in the 6-mans. I do prefer the armor for the 12-mans. It allows you to fit a lot of ECCMs and sensor boosters to make you resistant to damps and jams, which is really important in these 12-mans where you've got so many war frigates. And it also allows you to take advantage of the bonuses from the Damnation. If you want to get them repped, you can do it with armor rep drones, which are a good addition to a lot of these fleets, to be able to throw them onto the Inuris. Especially if you're up against a missile team, for instance, that does relatively low DPS to a low 6 ship.
Makes sense. And we're actually seeing an Ishtar died there, but Black Legion lost to Jaguar, and one thing the Ishtars just decided to do, they finally ditched their sentry drones and they threw out some warriors and Valks. And I wonder if that would have been a way to start the match.
If they had done that early and
put warriors out, take care of support early, and make sure that you have total range control for the rest of the match.
The Vengeances they have are very sturdy ships. Send those after the Jaguars, get them tackled, and then send a warrior swarm at them.
I think that maybe piloting could have totally changed the outcome of this fight if they would have just done things a little differently, but this is how it went. Ishtar down. Black Legion's going to take that one. Real strong showing from Vindicators again. And we'll see you guys back in a minute for 100 Loaded and Nully.